I woke up at 3:47 this morning with tears streaming down my face and my heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. My hands were shaking. I was gasping for air like I'd been running for miles. And the only thing I could think about was what Charlie told me. Charlie's been gone for 3 years. 3 years, 2 months, and 16 days to be exact. I've counted every single one. And last night he came back. I know what you're thinking. Dreams, right? Just your brain processing grief, mixing memories with imagination, creating something that feels real but isn't. That's what I would have said too. That's what I've been telling myself every single day since we buried him. But this was different. Because Charlie told me something in that dream that I had no way of knowing. Something that I verified this morning. Something that's impossible. And what he said to me, it's going to change everything about how I see my life. I wasn't planning on making this video today. I'm supposed to be editing content, answering emails, living my normal Tuesday. But I can't. I can't do anything except sit here and tell you what happened. Because if Charlie went through all that trouble to show up in my dream, if he fought his way back from wherever he is just to tell me this one thing, then I have to share it. Some of you are going to think I've lost my mind. Some of you are going to click away. But some of you are going to understand. Some of you are going to feel this in your chest the way I'm feeling it right now. And maybe, just maybe, Charlie's message wasn't just for me. But before I tell you what he said, I need you to understand who Charlie was. Because without that, none of this will make sense. And there's something else, something about the way he appeared that I still can't explain. Something that proves this wasn't just a dream. But I'll get to that. First, let me tell you about the man who changed my life. If you're still with me, hit that like button. And make sure you're subscribed because what I'm about to share, you won't want to miss a single word. Charlie wasn't my father. He wasn't my grandfather. He was my late husband. I was 8 years old when we moved into the house on Maple Street. My parents were going through a divorce that would take 2 more years to finalize, and I was angry at the world. I barely spoke. I broke things. I got into fights at school. I was a kid drowning in feelings I didn't have words for. Charlie lived next door. He was 73 years old, retired from teaching high school English for 40 years, and he had this garden. This incredible garden with tomatoes and sunflowers and these wild rose bushes that looked like something out of a fairy tale. And every single day, I'd see him out there, rain or shine, talking to his plants like they were old friends. One day, I was sitting on my porch, angry about something I can't even remember now, and I threw a rock. Just grabbed it and hurled it as hard as I could. It went right through Charlie's garden and took out one of his tomato plants. I froze. I was terrified. I thought he was going to yell, call my parents, tell the school. But Charlie just looked at the broken plant, looked at me, and said, well, I guess that one wasn't meant to make it. But the rest still have a chance. You want to help me water them? That's who Charlie was. For the next 10 years, until I left for college, Charlie was the most consistent person in my life. He taught me how to grow things, how to be patient, how to turn anger into something useful. He never preached. He never lectured. He just showed up every single day and made me feel like I mattered. When I was 16 and got rejected from the summer program I'd worked so hard for, Charlie took me to his garden and said, rejection is just redirection. Something better is coming. Trust the process. When I was 18 and terrified about leaving home, he said, the root system you've built here will keep you grounded no matter how far you go. He had this way of making everything feel like it was going to be okay. I moved away for college, then for work. Life got busy the way it does. I'd call him on holidays, send him pictures of where I was living, promise to visit soon. But soon kept getting pushed back. One more month, one more project, one more excuse. And then 3 years ago, I got the call from his daughter. Charlie had a heart attack in his garden. He died surrounded by the flowers he loved, with dirt under his fingernails and the sun on his face. The funeral was small. I spoke. I cried. I went home and tried to move on. But I never stopped feeling guilty about all those visits I never made. All those phone calls I kept too short. All that time I wasted thinking I had more time. Until last night. Last night, I fell asleep after a particularly hard day. I'd been thinking about giving up on a dream I've been chasing for years. I was tired, burnt out, wondering if any of it even mattered. And somewhere between awake and asleep, I found myself standing in a garden. Charlie's garden. And that's when I saw him. But here's the thing that still makes my skin tingle: he wasn't alone. Stay with me. Drop a comment if you've ever lost someone who changed your life. And hit subscribe, because what happens next? I still can't fully explain it. The garden looked exactly the way I remembered it, but also completely different. The colors were more vivid, like someone had turned up the saturation on reality. The sunflowers were taller. The roses were blooming in colors I'd never seen before. And the air, it smelled like summer and rain and fresh soil all at once. I knew I was dreaming, but I also knew I wasn't. Charlie was kneeling by the tomato plants, his hands in the dirt, wearing the same faded blue shirt he always wore for gardening. And when he looked up and saw me, he smiled. That same warm, knowing smile that used to make me feel like everything was going to be all right. "Took you long enough," he said. I couldn't speak. My throat was tight. My eyes were already burning with tears. I wanted to run to him, to hug him, to apologize for not visiting, for not calling more, for not being there when he needed me. But my feet wouldn't move. "It's okay," he said, standing up and brushing the dirt from his hands. "I'm not here to make you feel guilty. Guilt is just a weed that takes up space where love should grow. I'm here because you need to hear something. And you need to hear it now." He walked toward me, and I noticed something then. Something impossible. He looked younger. Not young, but lighter. Like someone had lifted a weight off his shoulders that I never knew he was carrying. And his eyes. His eyes had this light in them that I'd never seen before. Not peace exactly. More like clarity. Like he could see something I couldn't. "Charlie, I started," but he held up his hand. "I know," he said. "I know everything you want to say. I know about the guilt, the regret, the what-ifs. I know you think you failed me, but you didn't. You gave me exactly what I needed when I needed it. You were the kid who taught an old man that second chances exist, that broken things can grow again." I was crying now. Not sad crying. Relief crying. The kind of crying that happens when someone gives you permission to forgive yourself. We started walking through the garden together, and that's when I noticed the second impossible thing. There were names carved into small wooden markers by each plant. Names I recognized. Some I didn't. And next to each name was a date. "What are these?" I asked. Charlie stopped walking and looked at me with those clear, knowing eyes. "These are the people whose lives you've touched," he said. "Every kind word, every moment of encouragement, every time you showed up when someone needed you. They're all here, growing, thriving, because of you." I looked closer at the markers. I saw the name of a kid I'd mentored 2 years ago. A friend I'd talked off a ledge during their darkest moment. A stranger I'd helped when their car broke down. People I'd forgotten about. Moments I thought didn't matter. "You think your life doesn't have purpose," Charlie said quietly. "You think you're not making a difference. You think about giving up on your dreams because you're tired and you don't see the results you want. But look around you. Look at what you've already grown." My hands were shaking. My chest felt like it was going to explode. "But Charlie," I whispered, "I feel like I'm failing. Like nothing I do is enough. Like I'm wasting my time chasing something that might never happen." That's when Charlie did something I'll never forget. He knelt down, picked up a handful of soil, and held it out to me. "This," he said, and his voice cracked with emotion, "is what I came back to tell you. The next part changes everything." Comment garden if you're still watching. Subscribe if you want to know what Charlie said. Because this message, it's the reason I'm making this video. Charlie looked at the soil in his hand, and then he looked at me with an intensity I'd never seen from him before. "Every seed that goes into the ground dies first," he said. "It has to break open. It has to surrender what it was to become what it's meant to be. And during that time, when it's buried in the dark, breaking apart, it looks like death. It looks like failure. It looks like nothing is happening." He let the soil fall through his fingers. "But that's when the roots are growing. That's when the foundation is being built. That's when the transformation is happening that nobody can see. And if the seed gave up during that dark time, if it said, "This isn't working, I should quit," it would never become the flower. I felt like he was looking straight through me into the parts of myself I kept hidden from everyone else. "You're in the dark right now," he continued. "You're breaking open. You're building roots. And it feels like death. It feels like failure. It feels like you're buried and nothing is growing. But I can see what you can't see yet." "What?" I whispered. "What can you see?" He smiled, and it was the saddest, most beautiful smile I'd ever seen. "I can see the garden you're about to become." I started sobbing then. Full, body-shaking sobs. Because he was right. I was in the dark. I was breaking. I was ready to give up. And hearing those words from him in that moment, it was like someone turned on a light in a room I didn't know was dark. "But that's not all I came to tell you," Charlie said, his voice getting stronger. "I came to tell you 3 things. 3 things you need to hear before you make the biggest mistake of your life." My heart stopped. "First," he said, holding up one finger, "stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting to feel ready. Nobody who ever did anything great felt ready. They just started. Scared. Unprepared. Uncertain. But they started. And you need to start now." Second, he held up another finger. "Stop measuring your worth by your productivity. You are not what you produce. You are not your accomplishments. You are not your failures. You are a human being with inherent value that exists whether you succeed or fail. The garden doesn't stop being a garden just because the tomatoes don't grow one season." And third, he paused. His eyes filled with tears that I didn't know spirits could cry. "Third, tell the people you love that you love them. Today. Right now. Don't wait. Don't assume they know. Don't let another day go by where someone in your life wonders if they matter to you. Because I promise you, the only thing you'll regret at the end is the love you didn't express." He reached out and put his hand on my shoulder, and I felt it. I actually felt the weight and warmth of his hand. This wasn't just a dream. This was real in some way I'll never be able to explain. "I was proud of you when I was alive," he said, his voice breaking. "But I'm even more proud of you now. Not because of what you've accomplished, but because you're still trying. You're still fighting. You're still here. And that takes more courage than you realize." "Charlie, I don't know if I can do this," I admitted. "I'm so tired." "I know," he said. "But tired doesn't mean defeated. Tired means you've been fighting. And fighting means you haven't given up yet. So rest. Catch your breath. But don't quit. Don't you dare quit right before the breakthrough." The garden started to fade then. The colors began bleeding together like watercolors in rain. "Wait," I shouted. "Please don't go. I have so many questions. I need more time." Charlie smiled one last time. "You have all the time you need," he said. "You always did. You just forgot. But now you remember. Now you know. The garden is waiting for you. Go grow something beautiful." And then I woke up. But here's the part that still makes me question everything I think I know about reality. Hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment telling me if you've ever had a dream that felt too real. Because what I found out this morning, it's the proof I needed. I woke up at 3:47 a.m. with tears on my face and my heart racing. The dream was already starting to fade the way dreams do. But I grabbed my phone and typed out everything I could remember. Every word Charlie said. Every detail of the garden. The wooden markers with names on them. And then I saw something on my screen that made my blood run cold. A text message from a number I didn't recognize, sent at 3:33 a.m., 14 minutes before I woke up. It said, "The tomato plant forgave you a long time ago." My hands started shaking so hard, I almost dropped my phone. That was our thing. Mine and Charlie's. The tomato plant I destroyed when I was 8. He'd bring it up sometimes over the years, always with a smile, always as a reminder that broken things can heal. But I never told anyone that story. It was just between us. I called the number. It rang twice, and then disconnected. I called again. The number was no longer in service. I sat there in my bed, in the dark, trying to make sense of what was happening. And that's when I remembered something else from the dream. Something Charlie had said that I'd almost forgotten. He'd mentioned a name on one of the wooden markers. A name I didn't recognize. Sarah Chun, he'd said. You helped her, but you don't remember. I spent the next 2 hours searching through my emails, my social media, my messages. And I found it. 3 years ago, I'd responded to a comment on one of my videos. A young woman named Sarah Chun had written about wanting to give up on her dreams. I'd sent her a long message about not giving up, about trusting the process, about building roots in the dark. She'd replied thanking me and saying it changed her perspective. This morning, I found her Instagram, and what I saw made me start crying all over again. She's a successful photographer now. She has a studio. She works with major brands. And her bio says, "For everyone who reminded me that seeds grow in the dark." I never knew. I had no way of knowing, but Charlie showed me. So I started looking up the other names I could remember from the dream. And one by one, I found them. People I'd helped in small ways. People whose lives had changed. People I'd forgotten about, but who hadn't forgotten what I'd done for them. The garden was real. The impact was real. Charlie was showing me that the things I thought didn't matter were the things that mattered most. But here's what really broke me. Here's what made me realize I had to make this video. I found Charlie's daughter on social media. We hadn't spoken since the funeral. And I sent her a message telling her about the dream, about what her father had said. And she sent me back a photo. It was a note, in Charlie's handwriting, written in the front of his gardening journal. And it was dated 3 years ago, 1 week before he died. It said, "If anything happens to me, make sure someone tells him about the garden. Make sure he knows that broken things can grow again. Make sure he never gives up." He knew. Somehow, he knew I would need that message. And he found a way to deliver it. If this is giving you chills, you're not alone. Comment garden below. Subscribe if you believe in signs. Because I'm about to tell you what you need to do with this message. I know what you're thinking. This is my story. My dream. My message from someone I loved. What does this have to do with you? Everything. Because here's what I realized this morning after 3 hours of crying, searching, and trying to make sense of the impossible. Charlie's message wasn't just for me. It was for every single person who's in the dark right now. Every person who's ready to give up. Every person who thinks their life doesn't matter, or their work doesn't mean anything, or their dreams are taking too long. If you're watching this video, it's not an accident. You found this for a reason. Or maybe this found you. So let me ask you something. And I want you to really think about this. What would your Charlie tell you if they could come back for 5 minutes? What would that person who believed in you, who saw your potential, who loved you when you couldn't love yourself, what would they say to you right now? I'll tell you what they'd say. Because it's the same thing Charlie told me. They'd say, stop waiting. Start now. Stop measuring your worth by what you produce. You are enough just by existing. And tell the people you love that you love them before it's too late. They tell you that you're building roots in the dark. That what looks like failure is actually transformation. That the breakthrough is coming, but only if you don't quit right before it happens. They tell you that the small things you do, the kind words, the moments of encouragement, the times you show up when someone needs you, those things matter more than you know. Those things are growing gardens you'll never see. But they're real. And they're beautiful. And they're changing lives. Look, I don't know what you're going through right now. I don't know what dream you're ready to give up on. I don't know what dark season you're in, or how tired you are, or how close you are to quitting. But I do know this. You didn't find this video by accident. You're here because you needed to hear what Charlie told me. You're here because somewhere deep inside, you still have hope. You still have fight. You still believe, even just a little bit, that something beautiful is possible. So here's what I'm asking you to do. Right now. Today. First, forgive yourself. For the things you think you failed at. For the time you think you've wasted. For the person you think you should be by now. Let it go. You're exactly where you need to be for the next step of your journey. Second, start. Whatever that thing is that you've been putting off, that you've been scared to begin, that you've been waiting for permission to do, start it today. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Not when you feel ready.
Today. Scared.
Imperfect. Unsure. But start. Third, and this is the most important one. Tell someone you love them.
Text them. Call them.
Show up at their door. But don't let another day go by where someone in your life wonders if they matter to you. Because I promise you with everything I have, that's the thing you'll regret most. Charlie is gone. I can't hug him. I can't thank him. I can't tell him what he meant to me. But you still can. You still have time. Use it. And finally, I need you to do something for me. I need you to make a promise. Keep watching. The promise I'm about to ask you to make could change your entire life. Hit that like button if you're still with me. And subscribe because you're part of this garden now too. Here's the promise I need you to make. And I'm making it with you. I promise to not give up during the dark seasons. I promise to remember that roots grow in the dark. I promise to trust the process even when I can't see the results. I promise to believe that transformation is happening even when it looks like nothing is happening. I promise to tell the people I love that I love them.
Today.
Not someday. Not eventually.
Today.
I promise to stop measuring my worth by my productivity. I promise to know that I am valuable simply because I exist. I promise to be kind to myself the way I would be kind to someone I love. I promise to start, even if I'm scared, even if I don't feel ready, even if I don't know what I'm doing. I promise to take the first step. And I promise to remember that the small things matter, that every kind word is a seed, that every moment of encouragement is water, that every time I show up for someone, I'm helping a garden grow. Can you make that promise with me? Can you carry Charlie's message forward? Because here's what I know now that I didn't know before last night. We're all gardens. Every single one of us. And we're all growing things in each other's lives whether we realize it or not. The question isn't whether we have impact. The question is what kind of garden we're growing. Are we growing gardens of kindness or gardens of bitterness? Gardens of hope or gardens of fear? Gardens of love or gardens of regret? Charlie spent his whole life growing gardens. In his yard, in his students, in me. And now I understand that he didn't die. He just planted so many seeds that he'll keep growing forever through the people he touched. That's what legacy is. That's what matters. Not what you accomplish, not what you achieve, but what you grow in other people's lives. So, what are you growing? What seeds are you planting? What garden are you building? I'm making a choice today. I'm choosing to honor Charlie by finishing what he started in me. I'm going to keep growing. I'm going to keep planting. I'm going to keep showing up. And I'm going to trust that even in the dark seasons, even when I can't see it, roots are growing. Will you make that choice with me? Because here's the truth that I need you to understand before this video ends. This is the most important part. Don't skip ahead. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Comment your promise below. And stay with me for 30 more seconds because what I'm about to tell you, it's the reason Charlie came back. The reason Charlie came back wasn't just to save me from giving up. It wasn't just to remind me that I matter or that my work means something or that I need to tell people I love them. He came back because he knew I would tell you. He knew I would make this video. He knew I would share his message. He knew that someone somewhere watching this right now needed to hear exactly what he told me. And he knew that the only way to reach you is through me. So this message, it's not from me. It's from Charlie. It's from every person who ever believed in you. It's from the universe or God or whatever force you believe in that wants you to know that you're not done yet. You're not a failure. You're a seed in the dark, building roots, getting ready to break through the soil, getting ready to become the garden you were always meant to be. And I need you to promise me, promise Charlie, promise yourself that you won't give up right before the breakthrough, that you won't quit in the dark, that you won't let the tiredness convince you that you're defeated. Because somewhere right now, there's a version of you that already made it through this dark season. There's a version of you that kept going, that didn't quit, that trusted the process. And that version of you is so proud of the version of you watching this video right now. That version of you is cheering for you. That version of you is saying, keep going. It's worth it. You're almost there. So keep going. For Charlie. For me. For that future version of yourself. But most importantly, for the garden you're growing that you can't see yet, but that is so, so real. I love you. I'm proud of you. And I believe in you. Now go grow something beautiful. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Drop a comment telling me one thing you're not giving up on. Hit that subscribe button to be part of this community. And share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Charlie would want you to. The garden is waiting.